56 mid-morning show moving along. It's our final interview of the morning, but that by no means suggests that it's not an important discussion to be had. We are talking with Candice Chirwa. She's an award-winning gender equity advocate, educator, and thought leader specializing in menstrual health, gender rights, and social impact. Known widely as the Minister of Menstruation, Candice leverages over 8 years of experience at the intersection of international relations, nonprofit leadership, and grassroots activism to champion period positivity and systematic gender equality. A giant of a woman, and gives me the greatest of pleasure to have you on the show this morning. A very good morning to you, Candice Chirwa. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, and thank you to your listeners for joining in. I'm really excited to have a conversation around period positivity.
Absolutely. What inspired you to become an advocate for menstrual health, and how did this lead to the founding of your organization, which is called QRATE, spelled Q for Queen, RATE?
Yes, I always, when people always ask me why the Minister of Menstruation or why did I decide to take on a career of menstrual advocacy, I always track back to my first period, which was at the age of 10. So that was really, really young. And I didn't necessarily have access to any form of education prior to my period starting. And it was a very scary time. And the relationship that I had with my body for the 11 years that I'd been growing up, I felt very disconnected. I felt very disempowered every time my period came. It was at the age of 21 that I then discovered this term called period poverty. But what I sort of resonated with was the research that was showing that a lot of young girls, when they started their period, felt terrified, felt like they were dying, and felt like they had a disease. And for me, that had to change. It couldn't be that a natural biological function made a lot of young girls feel this way. So that really created the passion behind creating Curate as a way to have a direct access to menstrual education for young people, but also to allow society to normalize menstrual health, because a lot of people still to this day in 2025 don't feel as confident, don't feel as empowered to speak openly about menstrual health. And for me, that needed to change. So that's why I took on the term the Minister of Menstruation, to allow for people to just engage in everyday talks around menstrual health, but to also allow them to learn and unlearn all the myths and taboos surrounding menstrual health, and then also build a period positive world, because I think that is super important to ensure that people feel confident and empowered. And that's just the mission behind it. So with Curate, it's just really about running these menstrual education workshops in a fun and engaging way. And I think that is what's really required to build this generation of period positive individuals. Yeah.
Okay, so you were 10 years old when you got your first period, and I'm kind of wondering, we often
Mhm.
in the African culture, we know what a strong culture it is and the type of support we have. And normally, when these physiological changes starts happening, both in a boy's body and a girl's body, we do know that the entire village is there to take care of that young child.
Yeah.
What happened in your case that you had this fear, this disconnection? And I'm sure it hasn't only happened with you, although we have a strong community regarding these matters. A lot of girls and boys are left absolutely alone to fend for themselves. And when I talk about boys, I'm thinking about the circumcision rituals,
Yeah.
which a lot of us still don't understand till today, and how daunting that must be for them. But we leave that for another discussion.
Mm.
Talking about the girls and the menstrual cycle, what did you do at 10 years old? Who did you go to? What sort of information did you try and glean from the people closest to you? And how did you help yourself in that
Yeah.
situation?
Well, when I first discovered my period blood, I took a lot of toilet paper and I rolled it up and just put it in my underwear as a way to manage the blood. But I really was terrified. I felt that that was really such a scary moment for me. And I just remember how I felt like this bleeding is not stopping. And it almost feels as if I'm going to die. I had to wait until later afternoon, evening, when my mom arrived back from work, and I had to tell her, "Mom, I'm bleeding." And I think she could tell from the expression on my face that, oh, my child has started her period. So thankfully, she was able to give me the basic information about what is happening. And she also showed me how to use a disposable pad. But I think what was then the scary part was, this messaging of keep it to yourself, keep it hidden, make sure no one knows, especially in terms of how I should throw my period products away. So I really felt as if I had to go through this by myself, that I couldn't lean on more support and I couldn't ask for any form of advice beyond just this is a pad and that is it. It was only when I was in high school that I really got a technical understanding of what a menstrual cycle is. That every 21 to 35 days, the egg is unfertilized, the uterine lining grows, and then that becomes your menstrual blood. But I still didn't have the information in terms of understanding what premenstrual syndrome is, which is all the symptoms you feel the week before your period starts. I didn't have the form of support in terms of what things can I take to sort of support myself to make sure that I'm okay during my period, especially when it came to menstrual cramps. So it was really just self-learning and really just trial and error as I was growing up. Even as I reflect upon it, I never even had conversations with my friends in high school to say, well, what is it that you take? What is your favorite form of snack? And this is, again, just showcasing how in the major impact that the secrecy and the messaging around keeping it to yourself can have on a young girl. And this is just a lot, especially in terms of the mental well-being. You're being isolated, but then you're also going through all these hormonal fluctuations that impact your ability to just think and interact with people. So for me, I think what was really missing was just the normalcy of this is something that happens to over 50% of the population in the world. This is something that will happen to you every single month. These are the symptoms you can expect. And experiencing in these symptoms, these are the things that you can take in terms of feeling better. I wish I had that form of information. I wish I had Minister of Menstruation as I was growing up. I wish I had the opportunity to interact with an organization like QRATE when I was growing up, just to feel confident and empowered to speak openly, but to then also rely on my peers to say, I forgot my pad today. Can you help me? Or I need access to medication. Can you help me? Because it was really just something that I had to sort of navigate by myself. And this is still the reality of so many young girls, not only in South Africa, but around the world. And I think for anyone listening to this, if you are a parent, if you are a teacher, it's a matter of saying, what can I do to then build this period positive world in which young girls don't have to feel this isolated and terrified as they are growing up? Because puberty is inevitable. We all celebrate our birthdays every single year. And especially with young girls, it is inevitable that they will grow up. It is inevitable that they will have their period. But I think that what is missing right now is that outside of giving them the access to the period products, they need the access to the education that's empowering and informative. But it also needs to be inclusive of the boy child as well, because they have a role and responsibility in being menstrual allies to create this period positive world. So yeah, I it's a lot, but I think it's
Yeah.
so
We
isolating. Yeah.
break. I just want you to focus on two or three very important factors when we come back from the ad break, and that is period poverty, how we
Mhm.
assist those young girls. It's a huge issue. Uh, Also, we need to talk about the hygiene aspect around period time, and how do we shatter the myth of, the secrecy. Is the secrecy about the protection of the girl child? If we kind of more open about it, but not be sarcastic or blasé about it, how can people around us assist us further? And what opportunity does that allow us as perhaps mothers, grandmothers, aunties, etc., to tell this young girl, you are now entering into womanhood, and these are going to be your responsibilities going forward, regarding the sacredness of you as a human being, the sacredness of your body, how you should be taking care of yourself and value yourself. So those would open up all of those conversations. But we'll come back to you in a minute or two after we've paid the rent.
Will once again be taking a trip abroad for Kurbani. Many people in the villages live well below the poverty line and only eat meat on the days of Eid al-Adha. Support this cause at 2,100 Rand for 7 shares or 300 Rand per share. Contact Maulana Timor, Maulana Sajjad, Maulana Hamad or Maulana Abbad on 011 852 6324 or 072 299 9268 or 082 368 6866 or 072 697 0131 or 073 576 9786. All slaughtering will be supervised by a team of foreign and local ulama. Visit www.operationkurbani.org.za.
Searching for elite local and international investment and advisory services from an award-winning firm? Look no further than the Belmont Mayer Group, your gateway to unparalleled investment and wealth management. At Belmont Mayer, we believe in the art of wealth creation, a meticulous process fueled by our unwavering commitment to excellence. With a focus on providing elite alternative investments and quality advice, we also pride ourselves on maximizing value for our esteemed investors, as seen through our consistent outperformance. Your financial success is our top priority. Join us at Belmont Mayer and experience the difference firsthand. Ready to embark on a journey of greatness? Contact us today. Reach out to the Belmont Mayer Group on 078 786 1698. Call or WhatsApp or email us at info@belmontmayer.com. Elevate your financial future with Belmont Mayer, where every detail matters.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic Sharia and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Make a conscious choice. Sip for change and support Palestine Drinks Africa. With every can, you help end the genocide and stand in solidarity with Palestine. Choose between our original or sugar-free options available in a case of 24. Every sip is a step towards justice. Every purchase a powerful message of unity and support for the Palestinian cause. Contact 082 888 1440 or 082 7739 556 today and be part of the change. Palestine Drinks Africa. Sip for change. Liberty for everyone.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
And welcome back to the final 10 minutes of the show this morning. Candice Chirwa is the founder and director of QRATE, a groundbreaking non-profit organization dedicated to ending period poverty and normalizing menstrual health through innovative education programs and advocacy. Welcome back, Candice. And would you like to respond to the questions I left with you before the ad break?
Yeah, I think the question around period poverty is such a important one because people often assume that with period poverty, the solution to it is just providing access to the period products and it will be resolved. But what people often forget is that period poverty requires a lot of access to not only products but infrastructure, sanitation, education, and also healthcare to ensure that one is managing their period with dignity and care. I think the dignity aspect is so important. And when we look at just how expensive period products are, we need to start understanding that period products need to be classified as an essential item and not be seen as something that's a luxury item or something that only those who can afford it can have access to it. Because those that cannot afford it will therefore have to use alternative materials just as a way to go about their social activities. So this is a major crisis, and it's not a crisis that just impacts South Africa and the African continent. It happens globally. There are a lot of organizations that are lobbying to eradicate period poverty, but they're also showcasing that period poverty at the hub of it is driven by the taboos and the myths because of a lack of education. So we can't envision menstrual equity if we're not educated and empowered around what menstrual health is about. But I also think that when we think of just the impact that it has on the girl's ability to go to school, and if she's missing out on school, that means that she drops out. This is becoming an issue of gender inequality. So I think people need to really understand that period poverty should be classified as a crisis. And the moment we classify it as a crisis, then the state will intervene to say, well, then we have to ensure that we have access to these period products, that they can be free, that they can be in public spaces, and that it won't hold a girl's ability to go back to school, go to socialize with her friends, or anything that she wants to do. And I think when we speak about the conversation about inclusion of men, right? People will be like, why do we need to include men in these conversations? It's just a woman and girls issue. No, menstrual health, period poverty is a human rights issue. And so everyone needs to be involved, especially fathers who are children to menstruating girls. They need to be involved. They need to be educated because they themselves have to create safe spaces in their homes. But they can also lobby to say that society needs to step up together to end period poverty. So this is something that requires everyone. It can't just be the responsibility of women and girls and people who menstruate to end period poverty. We require non-menstruators, mostly men and boys, to be involved. And this means that we ourselves have to be open to speaking about menstrual health, and we need to ensure that there's access to menstrual education. Yeah.
That's when Dads for Pants come about.
Yes, yes. So our campaign, Dads for Pads, is really a groundbreaking campaign to ensure that fathers have access to menstrual education so that they themselves can educate their children, educate their peers on menstrual health. But there's also a petition in which we're asking really everyone in South Africa to sign to say that government needs to step up to ensure that not only is there access to period products, but there's access to a period positive world in which young people who menstruate don't necessarily have to be held back by their period. So I think it's what's important about Dads for Pads is that we're including everyone. And I think it's really incredible that we've seen male influencers step up who are girl dads themselves to say, I need to be an ally. And in being an ally, I'm calling other men to be menstrual allies as well. And that is what, I guess, for the theme of Menstrual Hygiene Day, Menstrual Health Day, that we're calling on to say, this is how we are together for a period-friendly world, that everyone is involved in speaking openly about menstrual health, but also showcasing the challenges and obstacles that menstruators go through on a month-to-month basis. Yeah.
And clearly, this seems to be a problem that impacts mainly on third world countries. And we do need to step up, unfortunately, because the third world countries are lagging behind as far as these issues are concerned. It also indicates the patriarchal, um, I should imagine, the patriarchal climate we live in third world countries. That too is a barrier regarding these type of conversations are concerned. Um, Moving on, then, this can't be achieved just by yourself. You need partners, you need strong collaborations with strong, possibly corporates. So, talk to us about those. And when you approach them initially, did you get pushback, or did they open their arms and took you on board immediately?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting that some of the corporate partners that QRATE has onboarded or collaborated with have been very passionate about ensuring that girls have the opportunities to education, but have also been committed to ensuring that they have access to reusable menstrual products, so that they are not struggling every month to buy disposable products. So it's been really interesting. But I think in terms of the conversation, it does take a lot of knocking on, the very similar doors, and ensuring that people are open to the conversations, because some people carry their own individual misperceptions around menstrual health. But when we are in in conversations or meeting rooms with corporates, we often find that there is a commitment to be made, but it is often for specific days and not a monthly commitment. And I think this is just something that a lot of corporations need to understand, especially if you do have a CSI program. If you are speaking on menstrual health, we can't just be doing something for Menstrual Hygiene Day on the 28th of May or something for Women's Month. It has to be consistent and sustainable. And because period poverty has an impact on a girl's ability to go to school every single month, we then therefore have to make sure that these programs are targeted for every single month, right? So I think it's interesting that there are some corporations that are willing to have these conversations. It's just a matter for them internally to find the budgets, but there is a commitment to ensuring that period poverty is addressed, especially within their CSI programs that target girl beneficiaries. I just find that like I mentioned, we need to ensure that it is sustainable and it's not just once off, and it's not treated as a PR exercise. I always feel that CSI programs can do more in scaling up its impact and ensuring sustainability. And with QRATE, we're always open to having these conversations to show how menstrual health can really drive not only just ending period poverty, but opening conversations around sexual and reproductive health and addressing these stigmas like you mentioned
Okay.
earlier. Yeah.
Sorry for that. I need to cut in there because we're going to be wrapping up in a minute or two, but very quickly, I do know that you've impacted positively over 10,000 young people across South Africa. How long are you in operation? How did you start up? And what are the challenges you kind of face going forward? But let's try and keep it brief if you
Yeah.
don't mind.
No problem. So we started in 2018. We started our workshops in 2019. And the lovely thing about QRATE is with the menstrual education workshops, through collaborations and sponsors, we've been able to just target as many organizations, schools, and communities as possible. And so we continue to do that good work. And I think if anyone would like to collaborate, especially if they do have schools and communities in the areas that are impacted by period poverty, we are open to collaboration. So starting this at the age of 21 has been a passion of mine, and I still continue to do it. And as the Minister of Menstruation, it's just, I think, normalizing menstrual health and establishing a period positive world. Yeah.
God bless. Candice, you are, of course, the founder and director of QRATE, a groundbreaking non-profit organization dedicated to ending period poverty and normalizing menstrual health through innovative education programs and advocacy. Very quickly, do you do school tours as well? And do you go to university campuses?
Yes. So whenever an organization or school invites us, we go there and we educate, and based on whatever they require, we are able to do it. We also do period pain experiences for men. So if there are any men in the audience, we open those experiences up so that they get a feeling of what we go through every month.
Thank you indeed. God bless. Keep strong, and may you grow from strength to strength, touching lives in a very positive way. Thank you once again. It is exactly 1:00 time for us to wrap up. We do hope you've enjoyed the shows this morning. From me till next week, Tuesday on the Mid Morning Talk, it is Assalamu alaikum and Khudafiz. Go well.